Hey everyone, thank you for clicking on the video. This is Rachel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. The other day, my son was over my home and he saw an old friend that he hadn't seen since high school. When they saw each other, they kind of ran up to each other and hugged and gave each other dap, if you know what that means. And I was standing there watching them, after having not seen each other for over 10 years. And the first thing that the young man said was, "What's up, my nigga? How you doing? How's it been going? What you been doing?" And my son, responded and they were hugging. And then they just stood there shooting the breeze. Now, as I watched this display of, affection between these two young men, I had a little funny feeling when the other guy said the N-word. Nothing negative against him. He is a very sweet young man. It was the word that he used. I don't know how I feel about the use of the word. In some instances, I guess it's okay. And then in others, I don't feel that it is. So it got me to thinking about, why we feel comfortable as Black people referring to ourselves with that negative word. And after thinking about it a while, I do have definite feelings about whether we should use that word or, maybe not. And I thought about where the word came from and how and when we began feeling comfortable using it to describe, us as a people and just to use the word so freely, being Black people. And in doing so, I ran across a video on YouTube, and I'd like you to take a look at it, and then I'll come back and give my opinion on the use of the N-word.
Of racial prejudice.
It is the most notorious racial slur in the world.
So notorious, it's universally known by a single letter.
There is no equivalent that you can say to a white person that cuts them the same way.
Yam Searcy is a sociology professor at Chicago State University. He says 95% of his friends use the N-word, and he's cool with that.
They said this country was too divided.
Case in point, the night Barack Obama won the Iowa caucuses, Searcy received this email from an MBA-educated 30-something female friend. Translation, she was thrilled he'd won. When using the N-word, context is key.
That's the issue. So I have a problem with it when somebody utilizes it to hurt or demean someone.
For centuries, nigger was used to terrorize, intimidate, and humiliate people with dark skin. Its roots here in the United States go back to the Jim Crow South of slavery, lynchings, and oppression.
Because there's too many white folks paying attention to me.
Then in the mid-20th century, there was an evolution. Comedians like Dick Gregory and Richard Pryor started using the N-word during performances, holding up a mirror to America in an attempt to fight hatred with humor.
Well, my position, it needs to go.
James Compton is the retired president of the Chicago Urban League and a civil rights activist of 5 decades.
We were taught not to utilize that word, not to use that word, as well as taught not to accept it.
On the one hand, you have this word that's an infamous slur, but then it is also used as a term of endearment. I've been called nigger. I've been embraced by people who have kissed me. Good to see you, my nigga.
Harvard Law professor Randall Kennedy has authored several books on the N-word.
In politics or in any business setting, you won't hear nigger. There's not a serious politician alive who will say nigger. It is toxic.
except maybe in music.
Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
Despite rhyming the N-word with gold digger, the song hit the top of the charts for Chicago's Kanye West and won a Grammy.
Hold up, love. Every time you see Jigga, man, I'm rolling on dubs.
Heavy use of the word in hip-hop and rap music is introducing it to a new generation, though it now comes with a different spelling.
We want to go around the table? Or
We asked students at Chicago's Jones College Prep if they could explain the difference.
With the ER, it has a negative connotation to it, but with the A, you can, I use it sometimes to say, as another word for brother or my friend.
Sometimes they might just say it to be cool.
We kind of flipped it into somewhat of a positive thing.
I just don't feel comfortable really using it.
He's not alone. During a recent appearance at Chicago Public Schools, Dr. Kennedy found a lot of kids are confused white and black.
Who do you think should be allowed to use the N-word?
I don't object if people of different races use the word for reasons which, in my view, are socially justifiable.
Last summer, the NAACP held a ceremony to bury the word.
We officially declare him dead!
While a huge proportion of African Americans supported the move, usage of the N-word is finding new life with another minority group. In fact, a growing number of Latinos, like this hip-hop artist from Panama, are attempting to make claims on the word for themselves.
People who have a history of oppression or who can understand oppression, there's a tendency for greater tolerance.
But the N-word will always be rooted in the black community, regardless of how it's spelled or how the definition evolves.
One of the dynamics of black culture is that you switch the meanings of accepted words.
Nigger is really a linguistic landmark. I want people to know the full story behind this word, and I don't want that suppressed. I don't want that forgotten.
So for me, the answer would be no. I don't feel comfortable with the use of the word. I guess I can't get past the origins of the word, how that word entered into our lives. You know, it was from slavery, and it was used as a derogatory term towards my ancestors. With that said, it is not like I haven't heard the word before, and it's not like I haven't used the word before. When I was raising my children, I did not allow them to use that word. If I heard them say it, you know, I would say, you know, don't use that word. And I guess over the years, from hearing me say it so much, they never really used it. Now, as far as whether others use it, if you feel comfortable with it, I don't have a problem with it. It's just, for me, this is not a word that I would like seeing used to describe fellow African Americans. It bothers me every time I hear it. I just can't get with the word. But I don't really have, you know, any problem with someone else using it. I don't want them to use it towards me, though. In my life, I've had that word thrown at me by white people, and in a derogatory way. You know, I remember once I was out on the beach when I was in college with some white kids that, you know, I had met, and we stayed there, you know, a little after the beach had closed, and some police officers pulled up to tell us, you know, this group of college kids to get off the beach because the beach was closed. And as they walked over, they saw me there, the only black, and the first thing they said was, "Get that N-word off this beach and get out of here." And as we were packing up our things to leave, they followed us and they started asking the white kids that I, was there on the beach with, what were they doing with this N-word. They said something like, your parents would be ashamed of you, blah, blah, blah. And there have been other times that that word has been used against me in other situations with white people. I was once in a neighborhood with my little brother. We went out there to go to a Kmart, and it was a predominantly white neighborhood, and we were teenagers, and we were catching a bus home, and we were on our way out, and we stopped to get one of those Slurpees. And we were waiting for the bus, and as we were walking across the parking lot, some young white men rolled up and rolled past us yelling the word out the window. They circled around and came back, and they started throwing cans at us and telling us, N-word, get out of our neighborhood. So for me, that word it's just not a word that I think as black people that we should be using to describe ourselves. I know here recently in all of the rap lyrics, the rappers feel very comfortable using the word. And I guess this young generation, they're so far removed from the turbulent 60s and, being directly affected by that word, that it's a little easier for them to use it. But I just wish that they would become more educated on why people of my generation, and I'm 51, and older generations don't really like the use of that word. It saddens me that they throw it around so freely. But, I'm older, and, I have old folks' values, so I guess I'll never understand it. With that being said, thank you for watching the video, and if you don't mind, could you respond in the comments on how you feel about the use of that word? Is it something that you freely use in your day-to-day life, or is it a word that, like me, you just feel kind of funny when it's used around you? So again, thank you for clicking on the video, and you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye now.